Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I just want to start off by thanking you for being here. I want to thank you for taking time out of your lives to spend a little time with me. Thank you from my bottom of my heart for being here. I'm looking out across the audience here, and I'm a little concerned, to be quite honest. I'm thinking that at least 40% of you, now 40% of you, are thinking, I think I know this guy. I've seen this guy somewhere. I know him. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Now another 40% of you are thinking, oh no, the next White Montel. But it's the remaining 20% that has me the most concerned. And this is why. Because I know 20% of you are thinking, didn't this guy die? Isn't he dead? Okay, now that we've cleared that up, I'm looking at you now, and I'm seeing a whole new expression on about 40% of your faces. And I've seen this before, and this is the one that actually bothers me the most, because now 40% of you are thinking, has he put on weight? and you know, the answer to that is actually yes. I have put on a few pounds, and you know what? I've got to tell you this story. I hope you don't mind, but I've got to tell you this story. I'm coming home from visiting my in-laws in Texas. I'm with my wife, and we're in the car, and we get hungry. You know, that tends to happen when you're in the car for hours on end, and your wife won't stop talking and complaining and about your driving, and slow down, speed up. There's a cop. You know the story. All you men know the story. So we stop at a McDonald's. We go through the drive-thru, and we pull up to, we order some food. We pull up to the window, because now there's two windows at McDonald's. There's two windows now. There's a window you pay at. And this is supposed to make things quicker. But oddly enough, I swear when I pull up to pick up my food, it's the same person giving me my food as the person who just collected my money, which I'm still trying to figure out how this has sped up the McDonald's process. But anyway, I pull up to pay this girl, and she looks at me, and she's looking at me kind of strangely, and she says, do you know you look like Kevin Sharp? You know, how do you answer that question? There really is no response, or there's no textbook answer that is comfortable to. So you just kind of ignore it and hope you can move on and just ignore the question, move on, and like it never happened. And so but she persists. No, really, you look like Kevin Sharp. And by this time, my wife's kind of snickering, giggling a little bit, and kind of nudging me, like, you know, just tell her. And so after another time, she asked, no, really, you look like Kevin Sharp. Do you know Kevin Sharp? He sings country music. And she starts to run down my bio. And by then, I said, you know, I am Kevin Sharp. And she gets this surprised look on my face, and I'm thinking, I love you. I'm thinking she's just going to start complimenting me, showering me with gifts. But she says, no, you're not. You really don't look like him that much. And she doesn't stop there. She looks at me once again and says, Kevin Sharp's not that chubby. I'm a little upset by now, and my wife is hysterically laughing. And I just look at her and say, he is now. But you don't understand, she doesn't stop there. She looks back at me and says, doesn't Kevin Sharp have blue eyes? And I swear his teeth aren't that crooked. Now it's taken me all I can stand to just reach through the car window and grab this nice lady and pull her through the drive-through window and shake her severely, because I mean I'm feeling, you know, it's hard to go from, at one point you're thinking, you know, I'm going to be showered with, oh, I love your music, I love you, oh, you're so attractive. To go from that expectation to the exact opposite of just being so highly insulted, you go through a lot of emotions. But as I was trying to drive away to get my food, she had one last insult to pay me before I left. And as I was driving away, she said, you know, if you were Kevin Sharp, you'd be driving a nicer car.
Everyone in town works down on Main Street. It's a traffic jam when 3 cars are at the light. There's a grocery store, a beauty shop, and some folks we really like. But have you ever wondered what's around the corner of Sucker's cornfield and the city limit sign? What would be wrong with taking a chance, throwing some clothes in the back of that van, head west full speed ahead, like a runaway train rolling down the tracks? What would be wrong with spreading our wings, seeing things we've never seen? If it don't work out, we can always come back. Baby, what would be wrong with that? You've always said you want to see California and everything in between, at least once in your life. But if the fast lane's way too fast, or the wide open spaces are a little too wide, then we can turn around, put our roots down in the sleepy little town for the rest of our lives. What would be wrong with taking a chance, throwing some clothes in the back of that van, head west full speed ahead, like a runaway train rolling down the tracks? What would be wrong with spreading our wings, seeing things we've never seen? If it don't work out, we can always come back. Baby, what would be wrong with that? What would be wrong with spreading our wings, seeing things we've never seen? If it don't work out, we can always come back. Baby, what would be wrong with that? What would be wrong with that? What would be wrong? There ain't nothing wrong with that. What would be wrong? No, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
When I was a kid, I dreamed about singing. I dreamed about being on stage. I would stand in the living room in my parents' home on the coffee table and sing to my favorite. Now, I'm going to be honest, I sang to my favorite Barry Manilow records. I was Barry Manilow. Not only was I Barry Manilow, but I was Glenn Campbell. Now, I understand. Now, I was the old Glenn Campbell. I'm not the new Glenn Campbell who tends to drive his vehicle into other cars and run and go home and figure that he can sleep it off. I am the old Glenn Campbell, the rhinestone cowboy Glenn Campbell. I had an outfit, a checkered outfit with this denim jean vest that I would wear every day if my mom would let me. She would have to actually hide it in order to wash it so it would have time to clean itself. Because if I had my choice, I'd wear the thing every day because that was my cowboy, rhinestone cowboy outfit that worked so well on that coffee table I told you about. I would stand on that coffee table and sing. I would sing to the wall. I'd sing to the door. I'd sing to the couch. And in fact, it got to the point where I would make little invitations out of crayon on scratch pieces of paper, and I would slide them under everybody's bedroom door, my brothers and sisters. And I grew up in a family of 7 other brothers and sisters. In fact, there was normally 12 people in our home, whether it be foster kids or other. My dad always had an open door. And so I always thought I could get a decent audience here in the house alone. Now, my parents were the only ones that ever showed up. And so they were the unfortunate ones that actually had to watch their son in his checkered, red-white checkered denim vest outfit singing Barry Manilow tunes to him from a coffee table across the room. Now, I realize now just how much they must have loved me to do that. But that's what I wanted to do. And eventually, my brothers and sisters got sick of me, but they got on this idea, if you can't beat them, join them. And so they took me door to door. And we'd knock on a door, and people would open it, and I would just begin to sing. I guess you could call it a singing telegram, but nobody ordered the damn thing. So I'm not sure how you can classify that. I guess it's a surprise singing telegram. You know, sometimes the door would just slam. It would just slam. It's a drive-by singing telegram. I mean, it's the worst singing telegram you can imagine. It's hello, how you do, bang, bang, see you later. And the door would get slammed, but eventually, every once in a while, a quarter, 50 cents. And in fact, I acquired $1 at one neighbor's home, and so I thought I was on to something until I learned and had my first experience with the music business. My brothers and sisters took 75%. 75%. Now, I complain today of 15, 20%. My own flesh and blood took 75%. And so it continued. I'd continue to go door to door. And as I got older, you know, I'd sing in local plays and musicals and perform in the choir at school. But I also had a just as equal of a passion to play sports. And so I was involved in football, baseball, you name it, I did it. I was just very active. I loved music and I loved sports. And that continued all the way up until high school. And it wasn't till high school that I actually ran into a problem with my peers. It wasn't cool to sing in the choir and play football. It just wasn't. No matter what that Brady Bunch episode tries to tell you, when Peter Brady joins the Madrigals, and it just so happens that a professional football player happens to be across the street. I don't know what the guy, I think it was Mean Joe Green. I don't know. And so Peter's at football practice, and the guys are giving him a hard time, calling him a fairy. He's singing, you can't sing with the girls. I think they were calling him Tweety Bird, Tweety. I don't know what it was. But just so happens Mean Joe Green walks up and says, "Hey guys, I sang too. Don't bother Peter. It's cool to sing." You know, that's not how it went down at my school. I was just lucky enough to be bigger than most of the guys on the football team. So they teased me and harassed me, but they didn't cross the line. They didn't cross the line, but I did. Because what I would do is I would sing in the shower. I would sing in the shower after practice. And initially, it just ticked the guys off. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? You know, and a lot of them would walk around with their wrist hanging. But eventually, as the season progressed, you know, we we were boys to men in the choir, because I found several of the guys that didn't admit they liked Barry Manilow, but they would sing with me in the shower. They only sang with me in the shower. But anyway, not only was I getting harassed by the football team, I was getting harassed at choir. For some reason, these two peer groups could not get along. Can we just get along here? No. It's like the drama choir freaks and the jocks. They don't, these people don't go to the football games, and these people don't go to the performance of Oklahoma on the weekends. So I was caught in the middle. And I had this choir teacher that despised the fact. He always thought I needed to choose. And he thought I needed to choose choir, quite honestly. But I never saw that as being necessary. In fact, the only thing I had in common with this choir teacher was one thing, and that was Barry Manilow. He loved Barry Manilow. And so when we would get in our little fights, when I was tardy, when I didn't come to class at all sometimes, when I myself got tired of the drama freaks, we would kind of argue, and then at the end of the day, we wouldn't talk, and we'd just go down the piano and sing Barry Manilow tunes. And that's probably quite an odd picture to envision. But I admired his music and his talent and his singing ability, but we just struggled with the differences of opinion and our goals outside of music. But we always had that in common.
You said goodbye, and we began again, living separate lives. I'd be strong, I'd wish you all the best, but I turned my back on what comes next, 'cause I don't wanna know who'd be the one that takes my place, who'd be the one you'd hold, if all we have is erased. When love comes undone, where would you run if you go? I don't wanna know. Yesterday, angry words were said, no, we can't take back. They echo in my head, they echo in my head. I know sometimes love can feel like war, but I know what we have is worth fighting for. 'Cause I don't wanna know who'd be the one that takes my place, who'd be the one you'd hold, if all we have is erased. When love comes undone, where would you run if you go? Wanna know. I
So it's around this time, as I'm entering my senior year of high school, that I'm starting to feel a lot of fatigue. My knees hurting, my hips hurting, even my back's hurting. And in fact, there's some days when I'm having a hard time even walking. In fact, there was a time when I was in the weight room with my buddies after football practice, and I was very aware of my body. I was very physically fit at the time, and there was this thing I used to do that all my friends found very comical. We'd put 220 pounds on the weight bench, and as I was pressing the bar, I would sing a song. And my friends, for whatever reason, found that very comical. And so we're in the weight room after football practice, and they ask me, there's a new guy in the weight room, and they tell them they've got to see this. They've got to see this moron bench press 220 pounds while singing a song. And so we put the weight on, and I sit down and I lay down on the bench to press the weight. And as I'm taking the weight off the bar, it falls on my chest. It just falls. And I quickly just kind of react and start laughing and goofing off. And the guys grab the weight, put it back on, and I just say, I'm just not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood. And it was at that point that I really began to get scared, because it was like the strength in my body had just disappeared. It wasn't there. And I was lucky that I wasn't really seriously injured. And in fact, I quit football. And mainly because I was scared, and I didn't know what was going on. And I really didn't know how to tell somebody that I just know something's wrong, but I don't know what it is. And so I continued through the year, and I would have days that I would seem and feel fine. And then there'd be others when I could hardly get out of bed in the morning and even walk. And so I'm starting to limp and just kind of drag around. And in fact, it was my girlfriend and her mother that first started to notice that, the coloring in your face and your eyes and the circles under your eyes, you just don't look right. And as the year progressed, it just, one week was good, one week was bad, and it would slowly get worse. Rather than having 3 good weeks in a month, I would have 2 good weeks, 2 bad weeks. And it was still coming and going, and each time it came back, it was just a little bit worse. And so I started going to the doctor. And the doctors initially looked at me and said, well, here's this 17, 18-year-old kid that looks physically fit. There just can't be anything wrong with him. It must just be a sports injury, pulled muscle in your back, but it's not serious. You just need to stay away from sports, stay away from the weight room, and just give it time to heal. And what do? You believe them. You hope. Obviously, that's good news, and that's exactly what you hope to hear. So you go home, and you wait, and you hope it goes away. But it didn't. It continually got worse. And so I continually went to the doctor and was continually sent home. Specialist after specialist, basically getting the same answer and response and diagnosis that I had gotten 5 times earlier. And so you just try to go on with life. And as graduation approached, I actually my buddies had to help me walk across the stage to receive my diploma, because that was one of those bad days. And I'm thinking, something's wrong. But you're 18 years old, you're graduating from high school, and for the first time in your life, now it's time to make decisions on your own. Your parents can encourage you in different directions, but life is now a little bit more in your hands. And you're invincible. I know, and I can remember very well how I thought there just wasn't anything I couldn't do. And I was just hell-bent on beginning a music career. And so I went down to the local, it was called Music Circus, and it was a place where they would have national talent from New York or LA come in, and they would be the leads in musicals, where they would draw from a pool of local talent to fill in the rest of the roles. And I went down and auditioned and got a part. And so I started to work and I was actually really enjoying it. It wasn't necessarily exactly what I wanted to do, because I wanted to be a recording artist. But it was in the area I wanted to be, and I was learning some wonderful things. And we did Oliver, the first play. It was we do a play one week at night and learn a new play for the next week during the day. And so it was a pretty busy schedule, and one of the directors noticed I was having a problem getting on and off stage. And I was feeling worse and worse. I wasn't sleeping because by this time the pain was getting so bad. You couldn't avoid it. There wasn't anything I could do to get that out of my mind. It was there constantly. And it got to the point actually when we were doing the play Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. And Peter Reckle, and I think most of you ladies probably know Peter Reckle as Bo Brady from Days of Our Lives. And yes, he is a very, very sexy man. And I got to have a scene with him when we actually got into a fight. And he had to toss me kind of off stage, and I'd roll and get up onto my feet and continue on off stage. And it got to where I could not do that anymore. And the director approached me and actually said, well, you're a liability. There's something wrong. It's obvious to all of us. We want to make sure your health is, and it's obvious your health is more important than this play, but we just unfortunately can't have you here in case something happens. And so now I'm even more depressed. There's something wrong with me physically, and I'm no longer doing something that I'm enjoying doing. So I go to the doctor once again. Still the same answer. And in fact, I remember very clearly that a doctor insinuated that it was in my head. Just saying that and thinking back, it gets me angry. And I plan to talk a little bit more about that and medicine and doctors a little bit later on, but that's hard to hear, and you even continually and begin to doubt yourself. Is this real? Am I really hurting as much as I am? But it was a month later after that when I had been on my parents' floor for 3 weeks straight. And by this time, I had gone from an 180-pound teenager to a 130-pound teenager in only a few months. And I'm laying on my parents' floor in pain and not sleeping, just in agony, wondering what's wrong and is this ever going to get better? And rather than going to doctor's appointments, we started going to the emergency room. So one night we go to the emergency room and pretty much get the same response from the doctor that's on call that night and gets sent home. There's nothing we can find. Stay off your feet. And we go to the emergency room again a couple nights later. Because at this time the pain is so bad. I'm constantly in tears. I can't move. No one can move around me. And I get sent home again. You know, and though I got sent home this time, this was the first time a doctor had prescribed or given me any kind of medication for pain relief. And so at least I had a little bit of relief from the medication. And after returning home that night, early in the morning, it was just a few hours later on that morning. And it was the first time I'd slept, and I think I slept for maybe a couple hours because I had finally gotten a little bit of relief. And I woke up that morning, and my girlfriend was there. She was a big part of my life at that time, and her family is as much concerned for me as anyone. And I woke up that morning, and I could not breathe. I couldn't breathe. And I can remember my girlfriend at my bedside, and she just panicked. She lost it. And went running out of the room, yelling to my parents, "He stopped breathing, he stopped breathing." And my dad came into the room and gasped and immediately ran to the phone to call 911. You know, you grow up and you see your parents and and they always seem to have it under control. I know now that they just hid the times when they didn't have it under control, but that was the first time. And I'm laying there hopeless, but all I can hear is chaos and screaming and my dad crying. My girlfriend has run out the front door yelling in a panic. And my dad is just in a panic, almost kind of pleading with God and on the phone with 911. And shortly after, you start to hear the ambulance coming up the road. And I'm just scared. So they get me in the ambulance and they start heading to the hospital. They have me on oxygen, and I'm having it's a little easier to breathe. But I'm going back to the same hospital that has sent me home. You know, just the night before and a couple nights earlier. And I get there, and I've never been so scared in my life. My girlfriend has told her parents that I had died, and so they get to the hospital, obviously in a panic and upset. And I finally have a doctor approach my bed and look down at me and say, "Something's wrong, and we're going to find it." And as good as that is to hear, it's scary. And after numerous tests, oddly enough, now this had gone on for a year and a half, maybe even a little longer than that. And in only a few short hours, that same doctor is leaning over my bed, telling me I have cancer. And that they have found a tumor in my upper femur. It is so large at this point that you can actually see it and feel it on my thigh. And then he continues to tell me that we're going to have to amputate your leg. And this is needing to be done immediately. And at this time, I'm 18 years old. And now that I have the world at my fingertips and I have some freedom, I'm being asked if it's okay if my parents are in the room and if they can hear the diagnosis. And all of a sudden I'm an adult, and I don't want to be an adult. So in the meantime, I'm moved to a private room and dealing with the fact that I will soon have my leg amputated. And as hard of a decision as that was, I just knew if that was my only option, what's the decision? There's really no decision to be made. And as the doctors come in, and now I'm being introduced to who are now my oncology doctors. Which is a term I didn't quite understand until that point. And I think they're coming to tell me that we're going to surgery to amputate my leg. But they come and tell me that they found tumors in my lung and that amputation is no longer an option. We found the disease way too late, and there's not much we can do. We can make you comfortable, and we will look into every option there is, but this particular disease, Ewing sarcoma, is deadly. So now I'm not dealing with an amputation, I'm dealing with life and death. And I'm scared. But you know what? More than being scared, I'm just angry.
I could never come up with perfect words. Something beautiful you haven't already heard, but I can do better than that. I'll give you something that lasts. I'll give you my love every day. There's no other way. And I'll hold you and hold you again, not just every now and then. Oh, forever would not be enough. I can never love you too much. If I try to explain what I know is real, you wouldn't even come close to how I really feel. I'm saying forever is yours. Even then I'll love you more. I'll give you my love every day. There's no other way. And I'll hold you and hold you again, just every now and then. Oh, forever would not be enough. Forever would not be enough. I can never love you. I can never love you too much. I can never love you.
But before I continue, I want to go back for a second. Because I'm looking out across your faces, and I've got to say, I think at least 75% of you right now are thinking to yourselves, oh boy, this guy's brightened my day. Thanks, honey. It wouldn't have been as much fun to go down and save that puppy at the pound they're putting down today. That would have been no fun at all. And then the other 25% of you are thinking, when's the bald guy just going to shut up and sing? So I was angry. And I think everybody in this room, you know where I'm at. You know where I'm at this point. And the good news is I don't think I have to tell you every single detail, the chemotherapy, the nights where, there may not be a tomorrow. That's what I was dealing with my family. The loss of my hair, the ups and downs of the treatment. I don't think we need to go there. That's the good news. The bad news is I'm not done yet. I'm not done. But I am concerned mainly about one thing at this point. And it's this gentleman right here. I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, and I can see it. I can see it all over his face, his body. He's on the edge of his seat. And he's thinking, did he live? Well, I'm here to tell you, the guy lived. You can relax, sir. I'm not so concerned with you, but I'm concerned with those who came with you. So, we're talking percentages today. And so now I'm thinking 100% of you, not 40, not 20, 100% of you are thinking now, why is he here? Why is this guy here today? And that's a great question. And not only you asking why is this guy here today, I'm asking myself, why? Why me? Why am I here? Why are we all here? I mean, that's a question, I don't know about you, but I ask myself that question every single day. Some days I think I have the answer. Most days, I have no clue why I'm here. Why has God put us here on this earth? And if you're asking me, I believe myself, each and every one of you, everyone here today, everyone on this earth has a purpose. Each and every purpose is as equally important as the next. And that's it really. That's the quest. Why? Why am I here? And I don't believe I'm here to sing. I'm not here to seek gratification from nominations and awards, from music, records, and entertaining. I'm not here to, or neither are you here to buy nice things, new cars, beautiful homes. That's not why it's about. And all those things make this life bearable, but that's not why we're here. We're here, and I hope we're here, to make a difference. And you've heard it said a million times, to leave this place a little better than it was when you found it. And as true as that is, I don't think we really take that to heart. We're here to make a difference. And let me try to tell you why I think, not only why I think I'm here on this earth, but why I think I'm here today. Why I'm standing in front of you, opening my heart and sharing stories and parts of my life that are quite honestly very personal. Because I want to share those things with you, because I think that's how we learn. That's where we get the good stuff out of life. That's where we improve upon ourselves by learning not only from our own mistakes, others' mistakes, and sharing those mistakes. And I want to make this clear. I don't want any confusion, and I don't want anybody to think anything less of anybody else. Because by no means am I special or more special than anyone else. I have and know lots of friends that have died from this illness, but it didn't beat them. You understand what I'm saying? It did not beat them. They're no longer with us, but the disease did not beat them. And so many times in life, we let the simplest things bring us down. And it's, well, they did this to me. This happened to me. We find excuses. It's always someone else's fault. And in the most ridiculous things, if we're not happy with our nose, we go to a doctor and have it fixed. We have it changed. If we're not happy in our marriages, what's the simple thing to do? We leave. We quit. We get a divorce. That's not what this life is about. And every situation is unique and different, but there's nothing unique and different about this. We are here to learn. And if that's a surprise to you, I'm sorry. We are here on this earth to learn. And when things are good, when things are great and they seem easy and things are flowing, our personal and professional lives are great, we don't learn a damn thing. We don't learn a thing. It's when we get tripped up, when we fall, when we scrape our knee, that we truly get the meat and potatoes out of life. That's where we get the lessons. That's when we get it. And I'm hoping by me being here today that it's not, and it doesn't have to be cancer that teaches you and grabs you to where you get it. Because when you're listening to the radio or listening to your favorite song and you get that lump in your throat and a swelling in your chest, for that moment, you're getting it. When you're sitting at the end of a movie and there's a tear welling up in your eye, and there's this overwhelming emotion burning within inside you for just a moment, you're getting it. You have to recognize those moments in your life, because I tell you, they're priceless. And I have to share one more thing with you. Because this is truly tragedy's gift to me. God's gift to me. Through all the hell, this is what He gave me. Now, I was granted a wish, and it helped save my life. But I tell you, years later, when a young man in a hospital bed in Houston, Texas, was laying in a similar bed in a similar hospital, was approached by the Make-A-Wish Foundation and was asked if there was something they could do for him. And he said he wanted to meet the guy who sang his favorite song. And I was able to meet that young man, Matthew. and spend very little time with him because he passed away a few days later. But I tell you, what he gave me is the greatest gift of all. And it took my life full circle. Be good to each other. Love each other. And just keep on keeping on until you get it. Thank you.
She wants a puppy she can call her own. He wants to be a fireman for just one day. Year after year, more lives are saved. Oh, what a difference a wish can make. Make a wish, say a prayer. Don't be scared to dream. It can be anything. It's your gift. Make a wish. I know just how hard it can be to believe when sleepless nights, fear and pain are all you have. Looking back, I'm so glad I asked. When I think of all I could have missed, make a wish, say a prayer. Don't be scared to dream. It can be anything. It's your gift. Make a wish. Oh, it may seem like a small request, but not when it may be their last. Make a wish, say a prayer. Don't be scared to dream. It can be anything. It's your gift. Make a wish.